Welcome back to Mock Draft Madness, day 53 of doing a mock draft every single day until the NFL draft on April 25th. Guys, we are so close. We are, I want to say 2 days away, according to Tankathon. Yeah, we're 2 days away. We got a 3-round mock coming for you tomorrow, and then I'll have one more 1-round mock on the day of the draft. But let's get right into it. I'm going to try not to do too many crazy things today. Kind of just doing some things that I think probably will happen. So with going number 1, we have Caleb Williams. Number 2, I think is going to be Jaden Daniels. I do think there's still a chance that they go Drake May. And then 3, I do think it is going to be Drake May to the Patriots. And here's my thing. I think if this is the scenario, I think if J.J. McCarthy is the quarterback that is still on the clock, that is supposed to go top 10, I do think that the Cardinals probably stick and pick, because what they could get if Drake May was still on the clock compared to what they could get if J.J. McCarthy was on the clock is probably not the same. I'm sure instead of, maybe a pick swap and a first, it might be 2 addition, it might be 3 total first, a pick swap and 2 other first. So with that being said, I think the Cardinals might just stick and pick and take Marvin Harrison Jr. Now, this is where I think the trade out comes, because if the Chargers do want to trade back and accumulate picks, it is probably going to be with the Vikings, who can offer the most. I do also see the Giants possibly just trying to swap picks to get J.J. McCarthy, but I do think more likely that it's going to be the Minnesota Vikings that are going to be trading up. I'm going to give them this. I'm going to offer that trade through. It's been accepted. The Giants are on the clock with J.J. McCarthy. I do think they cannot risk going into this year without a quarterback plan in the future. I think, while I think they kind of planned on Kirk Cousins leaving, I don't know if they probably had rumblings that he was going to go, but at the same time, I feel like they could have thought that they were going to bring him back for another year, and, they may be able to play this out a little bit longer, but, it's been a discussion for the last couple of years, kind of what the Vikings' plan at quarterback was going to be going forward. Now at number 6, I do think the New York Giants are going to end up taking Malik Neighbors, just because of the fact that they need an explosive weapon outside, and unless they're going to take Joe Alt, I just don't see them going any other position in the draft. I think it's going to be wide receiver or offensive lineman, and I'm leaning towards more wide receiver. At number 7, we have Joe Alt to the Tennessee Titans. This pick has made the most sense. It's probably the pick I've done the most throughout Mock Draft Madness, just because the reality is they need to shore up that O-line, and Joe Alt is one of those prospects that has a super high floor, can have a super high ceiling, and if he pans out with how he's supposed to be, he can take this team to the next level. At number 8, we have the Atlanta Falcons on the board. I think they're going to either take Latu or Dallas Turner. I know they were high on Verse last year, but kind of with the way that I've been hearing, they have Latu as their highest ranked edge. I do think the injury concerns are kind of a thing. He is a little bit of an older player where, he's 23. Dallas Turner, I want to say, is 21. Yeah, 21, so he's got 2 years on him. I just think Latu is I don't want to say obviously, I just think Latu is the best edge in the class, and if they're looking for pure talent, Latu is their guy, outside of, obviously the medical history. Number 9, to the Bears. I think it's going to be pretty simple if Rome Odunze is on the board. The opportunity to pair your franchise quarterback, Caleb Williams, with Rome Odunze, Keenan Allen, and DJ Moore just becomes incredibly hard to pass up. And, sorry, I'm getting, alerts on my phone just about some insider stuff. I guess there is probably going to be... So I think Jamar Chase is probably about to get his new deal soon, just from what I'm reading here. But the New York Jets are now on the clock. I do think they are probably going to go Brock Bowers if he is available. I do think there is a possibility that they could trade back and get some more picks, grab a second-round pick, and potentially take an offensive lineman. I think that is really important. But with Brock Bowers on the board and pairing him with Garrett Wilson, you want to give all the weapons you can to Aaron Rodgers in this small span of time that you have to win a championship. If you have another disappointing year, if you're Robert Saleh and Joe, oh my God, what is their name? Joe Shane is the Giants. I'm blanking on their GM's name. But anyway, I just know like the leash is probably this year and next year for those two coaches. So we're going to see, or that coach and that GM pairing. So we're going to see what goes on with that. So now we have picks 11, 23, and 37. Sitting here at number 11, I'm going to go with Talisa Fu. Well, actually, I'm going to go. They do need help on the offensive line. I don't think it's really that great. I think I'm going to go Fautanu because I think he presents more opportunities for you. He can play all 5 positions. And, you have Trey Pipkins at right tackle, Rashawn Slater at left tackle. So Fautanu can play any of the interior spots. I also think he could probably beat out Pipkins eventually. So you are really just going to be rolling with your best 5. And I do think that Jim Harbaugh would like what Troy Fautanu brings to the table. At number 12, we have the Denver Broncos. I do think they have the potential to add an edge, and I think Dallas Turner sitting there for them is just one of those players that becomes hard to pass up. He's young. This team is not really ready to win now. They need to develop guys, and Dallas Turner has a very high potential, and if you put him in the right situation where he can develop correctly, he can really be that guy. At number 13, we have the Las Vegas Raiders. If Talisa Fuanga is here, I think that is a pretty good add. I do think they have a chance to add a guy like a Terrion Arnold. I would just value the tackle a little bit more. And I've said this before, I think he really does fit the Raider way. At 14, New Orleans Saints, Olu Fashanu, easy selection. They need help at tackle. They can move Penning to right tackle to replace Ramczyk and have Olu play left. I know I'm kind of going through these picks kind of fast, guys, but I feel like after 53 days, we kind of have a realistic expectation of what these players are, what they can do for these teams, because I have mocked them in the past to them. Now we're at an interesting spot at 15. They do need a cornerback, and I do think it is possible that they add one here. So I'm going to give them Quinyon Mitchell. I have gone Terrion Arnold in the past, but I think Quinyon Mitchell and Terrion Arnold are really that CB1. I tend to lean a little bit Terrion Arnold, but I think that he would be a good fit for the Colts if Bowers or any of the top 3 receivers are gone or not there. I think they're probably going to go corner or trade back and maybe go Brian Thomas Jr. or just even take Brian Thomas Jr. here at 15. So now I think this is an interesting spot. I'm going to have the Seattle Seahawks trade back with the Philadelphia Eagles. We're going to pick swap, and they're going to give us pick 53. We're going to force that trade through, and the Eagles are going to come up and take Terrion Arnold. There's been rumors that the Eagles have been wanting to trade up and get one of the top corners off the board, and Terrion Arnold would honestly be an amazing fit for Philly. I think he's such a talented player, and with the idea that he could go to a team like Philly and be their alpha 1 guy, played behind Slay and Bradbury for a year. You don't know how much longer you got with those guys. I just think that instantly boosts Philly's defense. 17 to the Jacksonville Jaguars. I do like the idea of possibly adding a guy like a Marius Mims because Cam Robinson is on the last year of his deal, and I think, if he's able to play behind Anton Harrison and Cam Robinson for a year and develop, and then you have Anton Harrison who starts to come out, you have Marius Mims who starts to come out, you do have a really, 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 really good O-line, potentially. Obviously, you've re-signed the interior, you signed Mitch Morse this offseason as your center. I think that gives you a line that you can look forward to and be excited for in the future. At number 18, we have the Cincinnati Bengals. I do think J.C. Latham would probably be the pick here unless they're going to go Byron Murphy. I did see a report here that said Byron Murphy isn't going to slide past pick 18, so maybe that means the Bengals are really high on him. But I do think the Bengals do draft for succession, and Trent Brown is only there for 1 year. So if you could have your guy and have Latham play guard this year and then move him to tackle once Trent Brown leaves, I think that could be a solid choice for them. 19 to the Los Angeles Rams. I think they need defensive interior, so I'm going to go Byron Murphy here. He's probably one of the best defensive players in the draft, and at 19, he is a steal. After losing Aaron Donald, they need to add some force to the interior offensive line. Yes, I know it is not a exact replacement of AD, but you have to start somewhere. 20 to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think if Brian Thomas Jr. is here, they run the pick in. I do think they need tackle and center, but he's probably the best player available here at 20, and you're able to pair him with George Pickens, Najee Harris, Pat Freiermuth, Jalen Warren, And whoever it is, Russell Wilson or Justin Fields, you want to give them as many options as you can. I don't know if George Pickens and Calvin Austin are winning you many games just by them two. 21 to the Miami Dolphins. We got a really good pick, and they all lined up here. So we could add Jerzon Newton. They have good depth there. I think they still do need a really good pass rusher, even though they have Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips. But I do think grabbing a guy like Graham Barton to secure the interior of your offensive line does you the best here, because he can play all 5 positions. Teron Armstead's getting older. You re-signed Austin Jackson. You have Aaron Brewer at center, but you lost Robert Hunt in free agency. So he's someone that can play there. He can squeeze in at tackle when you need him. And good pick for the Dolphins. 22 to the Seattle Seahawks, who traded back. I'm going to go Jackson Powers-Johnson. The trade back is kind of like in a perfect position to take an interior offensive lineman, because I think 16 is a little bit high. I do think if you trade into the 20 to 25 range, that is the ideal range to get your IDL guy, and I think they would do a really good job in getting Jackson Powers-Johnson, who could play any of the interior positions. 23 to the Los Angeles Chargers. We had them taking Troy Fautanu earlier. They do need defensive interior help, so I do think adding a guy like Jerzon Newton could be really good. I do like the idea of adding a Cooper DeJean maybe, but I'm going to go Jerzon Newton. Play him in the middle next to Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa. Those guys are both getting a little bit older. You don't know how long they have left. The cap is kind of tight, so adding a defensive interior guy who could really eat when he's surrounded by such great pass rushers would be a great addition for the Los Angeles Chargers. At 24, we have the Dallas Cowboys. I've been going with Adonai Mitchell here the last couple times, but I do think they could probably add a cornerback here. And I think Nate Wiggins could be their guy. After Deron Bland and Trevon Diggs, it gets a little thin. So I am going to go Nate Wiggins to the Dallas Cowboys. At number 25 to the Green Bay Packers, I'm going to go Cooper DeJean. Somebody who can play safety next to Xavier McKinney. He can also play corner with Jair Alexander. They drafted Lucas Van Ness last year. I think it is a good addition for the Green Bay Packers. 26 to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I know this pick is getting old, but Jared Verse sitting here at 26 is a very easy selection. They need help on that defensive line after losing Shaq Barrett. Vita Vea is getting older. Kalijah Kancey was a good pick. So I think that would be a good selection for Todd Bowles and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 27 to the Arizona Cardinals. They took Marvin Harrison Jr. I do think that if Kool-Aid McKinstry is available here, you'll take him. You need to improve your secondary. You can put him next to Sean Murphy-Bunting so he doesn't have to be CB1 right away, and you're slowly improving your secondary. You also have a pick at pick 35, so you're in a good spot. 28 to the Buffalo Bills. While I do think that it's possible they go Adonai Mitchell, I think they could also add a defensive interior player if he's here. Adonai Mitchell is just the best player available, and we can hear what the Bills want to say about, we like the guys we have in the room, but you only like the guys you have in the room so much, and Adonai Mitchell can really be that alpha 1 receiver. Their room is kind of muddy right now. They don't really have a true guy in there, so I think he could add another option for Josh Allen. 29 to the Detroit Lions. They're kind of stuck in an interesting place here. I do like Mike Sanders still, but I'm going to give them TJ Tampa just because I think that Brian Branch plays that slot role a little bit better. So I'm going to go TJ Tampa here at 29. I do think they could potentially trade back and get him too, because I don't know if he's going to go at that place, but the next pick isn't until 61, so they kind of got to figure out what they want to do. And actually, for that value, I think I'm going to go Chop Robinson here to put on the opposite side of Aiden Hutchinson. 30 to the Baltimore Ravens. I'm going to add Troy Franklin next to Zay Flowers. I think Lamar Jackson needs more weapons. OBJ is gone, probably signing with the Dolphins. So the Ravens could use more receiving threats. This has been a consistent story with the Ravens. 31 to the San Francisco 49ers. I do think they are probably going to add Tyler Guyton, who is a guy who needs development, but he has been really good. And Trent Williams, you don't know how long he has left. He could be that guy to play behind Williams and Colton McKivitz, and then replace Trent Williams when he retires. 32 to the Kansas City Chiefs. We're in an interesting spot here. I do think they would probably end up adding a guy like Xavier Worthy or Keon Coleman. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give Mahomes his new deep threat. 33 to the Carolina Panthers. I'm going to give them Ladd McConkey, a smooth route runner, good catcher of the ball. The issue with him, he just struggled a little bit staying healthy in college. I do like him. I'm a little bit higher on Ricky Pearsall, but I still think Ladd McConkey is a great player. Thank you guys so much for watching. This has been Mock Draft Madness Day 53. Officially 2 days from the draft. I could not be more excited. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you don't know ball and want to know ball, be sure to subscribe. Leave a like. Let me know in the comments your favorite and least favorite pick from this mock draft, and have a great rest of your night.